So your amount that you initially deposited for your premiums is actually growing at compound interest and paying dividends. But yeah, Christy, you just told me to take a loan from myself though and pay off my credit cards. Now I don't have $8,000 in there. Well, your $8,000 is still growing at compound interest and paying dividends. You took a loan from the insurance company. And so what happens if you don't pay this back? Well, if you have $100,000 in a death benefit, then that 8,000 would just be deducted off of your death benefit when it pays out to your beneficiary. But we don't want to do that. We want to pay ourselves back because we have an additional $493 now that we didn't have. What can we do with that? Well, you're going to turn around and put that right back into your policy. Now, do you know what that means? That means that when you put this 493 back into the money that you borrowed, it's doing nothing but reducing the balance that you borrowed, and it's available for you to use again. I know, I said that. Okay, so let's kind of do it in, a visual here so that this makes sense to you. Now, remember what I said, when your initial savings was transferred into your own IBC policy, you took a loan and literally paid off two debts that were causing you to lose $493 per month. Let's talk about the interest on these two cards. One is 23.6%, and this one was 29.2%. So let's talk about the interest first, and then we're going to talk about the interest on the IBC. So let's do 4167 times 23.6. All right, so that's about $900 in a year. Let's say 900 for the whole year, and then 29.2% of 2043. So that's $597 approximately for the whole year. So let's add that up. So 597 plus 900, that's $1,497 in interest only for these two cards. Now, did I really do that right? Is that the way the interest is charged on credit cards? Do they put that interest on that balance and say, okay, this is what you owe for the year? We wish they would do that. No, what they do is they are charging interest monthly. So depending upon what your balance is on the credit card, they charge that monthly. And then if you haven't paid that off by the next month, then guess what? You get to pay the balance plus the interest plus the new interest because it compounds throughout the year as well, right? Whew, that was a mouthful. Okay, so back to what we're talking about. If it was just $14.97 interest only for the entire year on the credit cards, what would it be on this IBC that you took a loan from yourself? Remember, it's still growing at compound interest and paying dividends, even though you have taken a loan, okay? What happens if we take the 6210 here that we borrowed initially from ourselves times about 6%. Now that's a high. My interest charges on loans I take for my own IBC policy is at 4.65. But let's calculate it at 6%. So 6210 times 6%. That is $372.60 interest only for 1 year. Wow. So I'm saving over $1,000 in interest for 1 year just because I did this little move with my savings, put it from the bank savings into my IBC savings, took a loan from myself. But am I ever going to pay $372.60? Am I ever going to pay that? I'm not. Why? Because I am going to take my cash flow and start putting it back into the money I borrowed. So let's just look at that. All right. So if now remember your credit card interest of $14.97 for 1 year, if that's the way they charged interest, and it's not. I'm giving you the basis that we already saved over $1,000 in 1 year on interest at the minimal by taking a loan from ourselves and doing it this way. But we're going to talk now about what kind of interest are we going to pay when we take a loan from our policy. So this $493, I would pay right back to myself. You were throwing it away to credit cards. You were just throwing it away. It was gone. But now you're able to put it right back into your own policy. You're paying yourself back. So let's see what that looks like. 6210, 493, 5717. Okay. You see where we're going here?